Last January, dozens of Warhammer creators announced they were done, finished, gone, retired. Games Workshop has since announced 11th edition. Every single one is back. Tonight, we'll find out what that says about them, and what it says about us that we kept watching anyway. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, hobbyists, painters, and people who swore they'd finish one model before buying another, and currently have 11 unbuilt kits sitting in a box labeled soon. Tonight on C7 Miniature Misinformer, the Great Return. We document it, we celebrate it, we absolutely roast it. Also tonight, Games Workshop announced a Warhammer 40,000 musical. Yes, on April 1st, and yes, we're still not sure if it's a joke. And the 11th edition has introduced terrain-based objectives, which sounds simple until you realize you now need to emotionally bond with a pile of rubble to win a game. Plus, Canadian hobbyists confirmed their paints have thawed, just in time for the early spring prep. And finally, someone out there has bought a new game, read the rulebook, cover to cover, and actually played it. Experts are calling this behavior deeply concerning. Hobby scandals. The Great Return. Let's start with the story that everyone saw coming, and yet nobody is willing to admit they saw coming. Following the announcement of Warhammer 40k's 11th edition, every single content creator who publicly, dramatically, and sometimes tearfully declared, "I am done with this game," are back. All of them. I want to be precise here. All of them. The ones who posted videos called "Why I'm Quitting Warhammer," the ones who did live streams of themselves selling their armies, the ones who said, I'm paraphrasing, "This hobby has lost its way and I cannot in good conscience continue to support it," are back within weeks. Now, in fairness to these creators, healing is a process. Step 1, grief. Step 2, acceptance. Step 3, uploading a video called "Why This Edition Changes Everything." It's a classic arc. Beautiful, really. The subject line writes itself. The thumbnail face, you know the one. Mouth open, eyebrows up, pointing at the camera like they've just discovered fire. That face. That exact face. Sources close to the situation confirm that the healing process began the exact moment someone said the words, "New edition, hype cycle." It's basically medicine at this point. Now here's the part that should bother you, but won't. The viewers came back too. Every single one of us. We watched the "I'm quitting" video, we watched the return video, and we liked both of them. We are the reason this works. And we're going to keep doing it when it's the 12th edition drops. In related news, hobbyists worldwide respond mild déjà vu this week. Nobody investigated further. The musical. I need to take a moment with this next story because I want to make sure I deliver it with the gravity it deserves. On April 1st of this year, Games Workshop announced The Emperor Protects, a Warhammer 40,000 musical. A musical. Now, before we continue, a quick reminder, April 1st. It was April 1st. We still don't fully know if it's real, and I think that uncertainty, that genuine, unsettling uncertainty about whether Games Workshop would greenlight a 40k musical, says more about where this hobby is right now than anything else I could tell you tonight. That said, the details they released are chef's kiss. Reportedly includes in the production a 14-minute solo titled "Heresy, but Make It Jazz," a tap dance, tech priest, and I cannot stress this enough, a full choir of Space Marines harmonizing for the Emperor. Critics are calling it unnecessary, fans are calling it also unnecessary, but I'd watch it. I am calling it the only thing I've thought about this week. There is a version of reality, and it's not far from this one, where a £40 limited edition vinyl soundtrack drops in October and sells out in about 11 minutes. And someone in a forum will complain it's pushed to fit. This week's Community Watch. Terrain objectives. This week, the Warhammer 40k community has been grappling with one of the most significant mechanical changes in recent memory. Objectives are no longer tokens. Objectives are now terrain. Let me explain what this means in practice. Previously, you placed a small circle on the table. You stood near it, you scored points. It was a circle. You stood near it, done. Now, you are standing near a ruin. A ruin with cover values. A ruin your tank can now drive through if it's light enough terrain. A ruin you are, according to the rules, holding. The ruin has weight now. Emotional weight. You just don't capture an objective, you claimed a structure. You have a relationship with this rubble. Players are reporting mixed reaction to this change. Some say it adds narrative depth. Others say I now have to measure a forest. Both of these things are true simultaneously. The hidden rule has also been introduced this edition. Units that don't shoot can avoid being targeted at long range. This rule has been immediately and enthusiastically adopted by every model on every hobbyist's painting desk. They haven't shot anything in 3 years. They are untargetable. Meanwhile, one player has reportedly gone fully into the bit and named every piece of terrain on their table. Current roster includes this rock, bigger rock, the pillar I repainted twice, and emotionally significant ruin, which as of last Tuesday has been captured and recaptured so many times it has sentimental value on both sides. Community's reaction continues to include, this is immersive, this is confusing, I need more terrain, which coincidentally is exactly what Games Workshop wanted you to conclude. They knew. They always knew. Brush tips nobody asked for.
Today's tip. If you're unhappy with your paint job, just stare at it longer. It won't improve, but your standards will. That's called growth. Tip 2. If your brush tip has split, congratulations. You now own a dry brush. It wasn't a mistake. It was a specialization. Tip number 3. The difference between a beginner painter and an expert painter is confidence. Both are wrong. One is louder about it. The louder one gets the YouTube channel. Bonus tip for Canadian hobbyists. If your water cup froze mid-season this winter, that's not an inconvenience. That's a textured medium. Lean in.
And now a word from our sponsors. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Objective Marker Expansion Pack Trademark Incorporated. Why use a small token when you can replace it with an entire building? Each objective now comes with one ruin, one forest, one argument about line of sight that will last longer than the game itself. Now featuring narrative weight trademark incorporated technology, where every objective feels emotionally important and physically inconvenient. Because immersion is only real if it costs you something. Also sponsored by Influencer Return Kit Trademark Incorporated. Everything you need to come back to Warhammer after quitting dramatically online. This includes one apology video, one thumbnail face, mouth open, eyebrows raised, pointing at the camera, you know the face. 3 licensed phrases, this time feels different. This game is a better place, and I'm cautiously optimistic. Deluxe Edition includes a model you've been photographing for 3 weeks and claiming you painted this week. Finally, Pile of Shame Trademark Incorporated Storage Solutions. Not a shelf, not a box, a system. Organize your backlog with your patented 3-tier framework. Tier 1, I'll get to it. Tier 2, why did I buy this? Tier 3, this seems like a good idea, and I was emotionally compromised at the time. Now available in Canadian winterproof materials because your sprues shouldn't outlast your excuses. Events and exposés. Age of Sigmar has released its latest 2026 Battlescroll balance update, which means changes are here and someone is unhappy. Every community reaction includes, "This fixes everything," "This ruins everything," "I don't even play this game, but I have opinions." All 3 of these people responded within 4 minutes of the announcement going live. 2 of them hadn't slept yet. Meanwhile, Catalyst Games Labs has announced a new wave of BattleTech content, prompting players across the community to say, "I've always loved giant robots," right before not assembling them. Corvus Belli continues to expand its Infinity lineup. Every year they remind us that yes, there are other miniature games. Yes, the rules are deep and rewarding, and yes, you could learn it. You won't, but it's nice that it's there. And in completely unrelated news, one hobbyist this week purchased a new game, read the rulebook from cover to cover, assembled the models and found opponents, and played it. The full experience. Soup to nuts. In under a month. Experts are calling this behavior alarming and statistically improbable. The hobbyists could not be reached for comment. They were probably already on to the next one. This week's rotating minigame. Hobby Confessions. And now, Hobby Confessions. Anonymous, unverified, and far, far too accurate.
I bought a model because it looked cool. I don't play the game. I will never play the game. I have painted it twice. I said I'd start one army. That was 3 armies ago. I am not going to do the math. I've been painting the same 10-man squad since 2022. They have 2 coats of primer and feelings. I tell you I enjoy the hobby, but I actually enjoy it watching other people do the hobby on YouTube at 1 a.m. I have a favorite brush. Her name is Linda. I don't tell people that.
I watched a speed painting video where someone finished a full army in a weekend. I haven't opened up my paints in 6 weeks. I felt personally targeted. I bought terrain instead of finishing my army. The terrain is not finished either. I bought more terrain. I don't need more paint. I know, I don't need more paint. I'm going to buy more paint. The last one wasn't a confession. That was a consensus. Predictions and closing remarks. Looking ahead to the weeks to come, we predict Warhammer 40k 11th edition launch will be described as the most immersive edition yet, which, as we now know, translate directly to you need more terrain. We predict every creator who returned this week will produce no fewer than 3 videos titled some variation of Is Warhammer Back? The answer, of course, is that it never left. You just needed a clean break to remember why you loved it. We predict that hobbyists everywhere will continue to organize their backlog rather than reduce it, because a well-organized pile of shame is still technically progress. And finally, we predict that tonight, after listening to this, you will look to your shelf. You will see the half-painted models, the unopened boxes, the terrain you bought instead of the infantry you needed, and you'll think, I should really get back to that. You might not. But the fact that you want to, the fact that this stuff still pulls at you, still makes you think this weekend for sure, that's not a flaw. That's the hobby. It's patient. It's not going anywhere. And honestly, neither are you. That's all for episode 19. Stay warm, thin your paints, name your terrain if it helps. And remember, your pile of shame isn't judging you. It's just waiting. like it has always been. Stay hobbying, eh?